And welcome back to Tungsten Tales. I'm here with Sam Gill once again to talk through the 2021 World Matchplay. We're going to bring in you our predictions for winners and, of course, the outside names we expect to do well this year at the Winter Gardens. I'm sure we've got a few names in mind there. But first of all, we've just had the news this morning that Mensur Suljovic has unfortunately pulled out of the World Matchplay due to medical reasons, being advised by his doctor not to travel over to the UK this time around. He's been replaced by Gerwen who was 17th on the Pro Tour Order of Merit. Big opportunity for Gerwen, but it means Mensur is likely to slip even further down the Order of Merit, isn't it, Sam?
It's a very big opportunity for Watamina. Of course, he only just missed out on qualifying. A lot of that has to do with his weight, of course, when he ended up losing, as you ended up seeing on your channel, Josh, when you did the interview with him, him losing a load of weight. It's kind of affected him a bit like McGeaney in terms of results. He's been doing pretty well at times, Watamina, but he hasn't been hitting the heights. He's usually in those names, as I always say to you, alongside Jose de Souza, Gabriel Clemens, who always gets to the latter stages of Pro Tours.
So to say, Suljovic, unfortunately, not going to be at this year's event. Watamina in his place. But you've got to say it's a fairly open tournament this year. Usually you'd go in and you'd say, oh, Michael van Gerwen's won 17 tournaments up to this date, and he's the heavy favourite, or Gerwen Price is in unbelievable form. But there's not really one name you can pick out. There's probably 4 or 5 that you'd say they've got a really good chance of winning this year. And even then, there's names on the Pro Tour that we've seen this year have produced some unbelievable stuff that if they go on a run, there's absolutely no reason why they can't win it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those in terms of up and down the Order of Merit. Of course, you've got the likes of Gerwen Price, who's number 1 seed. He'll of course be returning in front of the fans, which he'll hopefully relish. He of course has a poor record at the Winter Gardens. I can't remember how far it stretches back in terms of how bad he plays, but of course I think he's only got past the first round once or twice in his career. Of course, it's a different Gerwen Price though compared to last year when he played in front of no crowd in Milton Keynes. It was a bit different, and then you've got in his quarter lots of Johnny Clayton against Dirk van Dijvenbode, which is one of the clashes of the round for me. It's going to be a real crunch clash. In terms of Dimitri Vandenberg as well, playing Devon Peterson, it's going to be an interesting one. It'll probably be on open night when in terms of when we have limited capacity. Run that again, Josh. Run that again. Got something in my throat.
That's fine, mate. I can just sort of cut from you into me anyway. When
that's fine.
Clayton.
Clayton, yeah. In terms of Clayton van Dijvenbode, then we have of course Dimitri Vandenberg, Devon Peterson in the same quarter of that. Dave Chisnell, Vincent Vanderbilt, which will be of course a rapid fire clash as well. It's a real weird quarter, and then you have below that James Wade, Luke Humphries, a repeat of the UK Open final, which is going to be a great game. Ratajski versus Dolan, which in terms of Dolan, he's a real dark horse for me this year, as we will likely go on to later on. He's a player in that quarter as well. He's probably bang on form compared to seeded players. Rob Cross, Ross Smith having recently won his first PDC title, he's in good form. And then below that, Durant versus Rids, which, as we've kind of said, it's kind of a free pass in a way for Rids, because with Durant, he's not been playing great at all. He's been playing awful, including on the European Tour qualifiers. I don't think he averaged over 80 most of the time when he was playing, and he's a player who's going to be defending semi-final money this year, and it's going to be one of those for him. He's going to massively slip down a bit compared to the likes of Adrian Lewis and Steve Beaton, even who didn't even qualify for the tournament. It's going to be those sort of players that end up slipping down. Rob Cross, if he ends up losing, he's in the similar sort of boat. He's of course defending a lot of money this year, and playing Ross Smith, he's playing a really dangerous player. So for me, it's the quarter to look out for, that one in terms of those 2 quarters. Go on, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, talk about Glenn Durant. Obviously, the form hasn't been there for quite a while now. But going into a new environment, the World Matchplay, it's been a long time since he'll have played in front of a crowd like that, against Callum Ridge, who will be making his debut, so he's bound to be nervous. And having watched him on the Pro Tour over the last couple of years, he's a player that really doesn't like playing slow players. For me, if there is a good draw for Glen Durrant, it probably is Callum Ridge. I don't think he's playing well to beat Callum Ridge on this occasion, but I do think if he probably could gain some confidence from getting a few legs out of Ridge in this one. I feel very sorry for Glenn, because he's a wonderful guy, and an excellent darts player. We're just not seeing the best of him at the moment. We just got to hope that he can find that form again, because when he does, he's one of the best in the world.
I ended up watching him on the Pro Tour, and in terms of his throw, I can't remember who he played him. I can't remember who he played in his first game against the week when he ended up losing 6-0. Ed House, Ed House. Yeah, when he ended up losing 6-0, I ended up watching his throw, and it's not the same. I think a lot of people have kind of highlighted it. He's not playing like he used to do. He's not got that throw when he almost like lowers it down towards his chin and then throws it. It's not the same. It's something that needs correcting. I really don't think with Durrant it's a thing with COVID anymore. It's something that's been mooted throughout. It's nothing to do with that. I think it is his throw, and it's going to be a real issue against Rid. So in terms of that, going into that quarter as well, we end up having Cross as well. He's got a big opportunity if he ends up getting past Ross Smith, because then of course he ends up getting the winner of that. And as we know with Cross, he's always a player who can end up winning money just like that, even when he's not playing great. So it's going to be an interesting one for him as well, I reckon.
Well, Rob Cross went into the match play a couple of years ago, and we didn't really have huge expectations of him. He hadn't been playing brilliant darts, and he went on and won the World Match Play. So he's definitely a player that can do those sort of things, and his form has been pretty good on the Pro Tour. We were speaking off air that he's playing pretty well. He's maybe not getting the results and the runs on the Pro Tour, but he's regularly averaging in the high 90s towards the 100 mark.
105 even on quite a lot of occasions recently. He's been getting quite unlucky in terms of his draws as well.
Yeah, so Rob Cross has definitely got to be a factor. I'm just going to bring it back up to the top of the draw. And obviously Gerwen Price plays Jermaine Wattimena in that first round now with Clayton against Van Dijvenbode. We could see Price against Johnny Clayton, a Premier League winner, against the world champion, or even Van Dijvenbode is a huge danger, of course, he is, over his form on the TV over the last year or so. But Price has definitely not got it easy, has he? I mean, if you plot his run at what you would expect to see, Wattimena, Clayton, Vandenberg, and then who in the semis? Maybe Cross, maybe Wade, maybe
someone like that.
So
it's not going to be easy at all. It's a wow quarter, that one. I'm just looking at it now, and I think just wow with that quarter when you end up having Price versus Wattimena. Could be a tough game for Price, even, especially if he's not playing in front of fans. We ended up having this conversation off air when in terms of the 17th and 18th, and we're not going to have fans at the Winter Gardens as such. We're going to have about 500 in. We're going to have about 500 in, but it's not going to be close to full capacity compared to on Monday. And I think it's going to be good for him to get some sort of fans, some sort of semblance of normality, especially if he ends up going through the tournament. It's going to be an interesting run for him, though. Of course, like you say, in terms of Clayton, he's been playing absolutely superbly on the stage. Ended up winning the Masters, the UK Open, World Cup, of course, with Price. It's going to be a potential repeat. It's going to be a potential World Cup teammates collide sort of clash. And then you of course have the defending champion against Devon Peterson, which it's good. It's a real interesting game. Chisnell versus Vanderbilt, like I said at the start of the video. It's going to be real rapid fire. It's going to be a good game. It's wow quarter, like I say. It's going to be a good one, that one.
100% the best quarter in the draw this time around. Now, let's have a quick look at the outsiders. I mean, often in the World Match Play, you see a recognised name, one from the main order of merit, play somebody from the Pro Tour order of merit who is likely going to be a form player over the last. That's kind of how the first round sets up. But you'd have to give some of those form players a big chance this year, because there are names that are just outside that top 16 that are right up there in the Pro Tour order of merit. And a name that I'm going to pick out that I'm sure you would have picked out anyway is Brendan Dolan. He faces Dolanized indeed. He faces Christian Kreisky, who's not in the greatest of form. No. So he's got a chance to progress there. And as I say, he's in the same quarter as Darrington Reds, Cross, who we say obviously he's a fantastic player and got a chance, but it definitely could be harder for a player like Dolan. So you're going onto that in a sec. And the other player, Danny Noppert, playing some unbelievable darts. He's in the quarter with the likes of Ryan Searle. Jose's in there, probably the favourite to win that quarter. Joe Cullen's been in form, but I believe there was
some problems.
Some problems at the last Pro Tour, which meant he didn't play good darts. So we don't know how he's going to turn up at the World Match Play.
Dobie, of course, as well. He's a big one. He could easily turn over Cullen in that first round, considering how he's been playing. I was saying to you about his throw the other day, how good that is and how good it is to watch as usual with Dobie. And he can give Cullen some real problems in that opening game. I don't really think we're not. I don't think he's going to give Wright. He'll probably give him a few problems with the format, but I don't think, as good as he's playing, I don't think he's on the level of Wright at the moment. Smith versus Searle's another one as well. Smith's been playing all right. Smith's been playing okay on the Pro Tour, but Searle's been a different animal recently, as you know, as a big fan of him, Josh. He's been playing absolutely incredible, and I can't, he's one I can't wait to see on the World Matchplay stage for sure.
Who do you make the favourite in that one? Michael Smith or Ryan Searle?
So for me at the moment, given how he's playing, how he ended up hitting the 110 average. I think I can't remember who it was against, and then he ended up beating Boris Kretschmar, a favourite of mine. He absolutely swept the floor with him, 111 average. He ended up eclipsing his personal best average. Yeah. The game after he ended up hitting it, and this is showing the sort of form he is. It's always mental with it's always mental. So how he can even play darts how he can even play that to the standard he does, how he's visually impaired. So it's always incredible seeing him smashing those 180s. He's an absolute machine. He's in an interesting quarter there with Jose and Gabriel, which I don't make that easy for Jose. Even though some people might, he's like third favourite, I believe, for the title with some bookmakers. I don't even make that game that easy for Jose, to be honest with you.
No, neither do I. I think Jose is deservedly right up there. I'm a little surprised he's not further up there. So we will discuss Michael van Gerwen. We haven't mentioned his name so far in this video.
Yeah.
Some bookmakers have him as favourite. Some people have him second or even third favourite for the title. He's obviously
title sponsored Betfred have him favourite, which is the one that matters in this instance, I guess.
And he is third seed for the tournament, obviously, behind Gerwin, Price and Peter Wright. So
I think it's the first time since 2012 he's been seeded outside the top two at the World Matchplay, which is an interesting stat as well. It shows how he's kind of slid in the past year, compared to the other two.
Well, he's definitely playing good darts. We can't say he's playing bad darts. He's not playing well now. He's just not getting the wins and the results that and the luck maybe we're used to seeing Michael van Gerwen get over the years. But the draw has been fairly kind to him. Damon Hester in the opening round facing the winner of Darrell Gurney and Ian White. He's in that bottom half, so he avoids Price. He avoids Johnny Clayton and the defending champion Dimitri as well, and the man that destroyed him in the quarterfinals of the World Championship, Dave Chisnell. So he's definitely on a favourable side of the draw. But how do we think Michael van Gerwen gets on?
I don't know. It's an interesting one with Hector. He's an absolute great player. I don't think he's had that great of a run on TV though as of late, has he? I don't think he's won a game on TV in the
Grand Slam last year was his.
Yeah, he ended up losing like David Evans at the UK Open on TV. And then he ended up losing to Baggish, of course, at the World Championships, famously. So he's on a bit of a rut on TV. I don't know if that'll play into his mind. I don't know if he's kind of thought about it. He's not been in that great form on the Pro Tour this year, really, for somebody who ended up winning his first title last year. He ended up becoming a bit of a breakout player last year, along with Van Dijvenbode and Peterson, kind of on the fringes though, because he didn't really have that big of a run on TV as such. He's a player on the rise. He can do damage. He can do bits. He's a bit slower as well, which might end up affecting Van Gogh, and he's not as quick. He doesn't really get on with it, which could end up affecting him. He's had bad memories though, Van Gogh, recently at the World Matchplay. I always go back to that game with Jeffrey as well a few years ago when he ended up getting pummeled on TV for the and he's kind of shell shocked, and he's not really recovered since the match play. He won't end up running into Simon Whitlock though, of course, this year. He was always his Achilles heel in 2020. If he can kind of get past that, he's got a favourable quarter. Daryl Gurney and Ian White have both not really been on form as of late, haven't been at their best, and are quite easy for him to knock over, really. He's not really got a hoodoo against either of them, really, as such. And then of course, you've got Anderson and Aspinall are kind of the big threats in his quarter, I kind of say. And even then, not really in gimme games with Anderson playing Bunting, who's in superb form, a bit like Dobie at the moment. And then you've got Mervyn King, who can always produce on stage. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I don't know with Van Gerwen though. It's going to be one of those on the night. He could end up getting beat in a shock defeat, or he could end up going on a run at the World Matchplay. I don't really know with Van Gogh, and it's kind of what's been happening with him at the moment. He can kind of go on a run to the final on a Pro Tour, and then he can go out first round. He can go out first round the following day to Adam Gavlosh. You never kind of know with Van Gogh, and he's a bit. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to say either way. I won't say that Het is going to win because of his recent TV form, but he's definitely got the potential to beat Van Gogh, and I say. Yeah,
I mean, for me, favourite wise, Van Gerwen isn't the favourite. I don't think Jose
no
either. I think
I don't Price even. I don't think's favourite. If I'm being quite frank, and look in terms of looking at his record at the World Matchplay. I don't make him favourite. It's like you say, it's a wide open field because you don't really have a player there who's kind of 100% on form. Van Gerwen's not on form. Wright kind of is. If he ends up sticking to those lovely gold darts at the World Matchplay, he might end up doing bits. So I'd kind of make him favourite if that was the case. And then you've got Price, who he's been playing okay. He's a bit like Van Gogh, and he's not been getting the look since he got back on tour. Anderson, of course, has not been playing too brilliantly as such. In terms of asthma, he's just got off COVID. It hasn't really affected him though as much as Durrant. He had like 1 or 2 days at the start of the Super Series where he wasn't really that great. But yeah, he kind of arrested that form. So it's a real wide open field. Anyone really can win. Even the likes of James Wade, he's been known as a spoiler in the past, and we didn't really discuss him really against Luke Humphries. I think he's got potential to go on a run given the quarter he's in, but even then, you end up having Brendan Dolan in his quarter who could end up, like you say, become, in terms of him becoming a spoiler. So it's going to be interesting throughout each quarter.
Yeah, there's no real favourite, which makes the World Matchplay so open this year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you for a prediction because we've discussed it. It's an impossible one to call this year.
Peter Wright.
Yeah, Peter Wright is the obvious one that jumps out. He's got a bit of form. He's got a decent draw. And he's got decent TV form as well. So I think Peter Wright is the one that jumps out there. That's not right at the top of that list.
Yeah, him, and of course Clayton as well. The two probably for me. Wade, even I'd probably put as your three. Clayton and Wade a bit more outside compared to Wright, even though they've both won TV titles this year. Wright hasn't, but it's the way our bookmakers do it. So I'd probably say Clayton and Wade as your kind of outside punts if you're looking at that sort of market.
If you're looking for a real outside punt, Rob Cross at 66 is quite tasty, I'd say as well.
Or Brendan Dolan, of course, who's currently at 66 he's currently at 66 with title sponsors Betfred as well. Cross is 33-1 with them.
I'd love to see, absolutely love to see Brendan Dolan win it, but I do think it may be beyond him at this point. But you know what? If Brendan Dolan throws his best
Helicopter.
darts, he's got more than a chance.
150 to 1 for Glenn Durrant and Vincent van der Voort. So a bit of money on them too.
Well, personally, I wouldn't be looking at them, but more than welcome to if you want.
Or Callum, or even Mensah, he's still on there at 100 to 1.
I wouldn't recommend going on Mensah at 100 to 1, to be honest.
Oh,
but thank you very much for those incredible tips, Sam. Mensah at 100 to 1. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much for your time as always. And all the interviews from the World Matchplay will be here in around, a few days' time by the time this goes out. I'll be there from the opening Saturday to the final on the following Sunday. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.